Action fanatics, welcome to another edition of the Bulletproof Podcast. I am your host, Chris the Brain, and joining me once again, it is the Toyman, Chris DePetrillo.
I am here as always, here for tonight's anniversary, here for tonight's tribute, here for everything we're here to talk about on this edition of the podcast.
And of course, we couldn't do it without this man, Ryan Campbell.
Brain, I've got my very best denim on tonight, just for this special occasion.
If anyone had to step up their game for this episode, it is certainly Ryan Campbell, given your past history, which was, culminated at the first annual Golden Butthorn Awards, which
that's
are
right.
available in the
we're
archives.
We're like the Rock Austin of Bulletproof Action.
Okay. Well, all right. Maybe. But yeah, if you joined us last week, thank you so much. You heard my little programming note at the beginning because we had recorded our Red episode prior to the news that Chuck Norris had passed away. And certainly, Toyman, this is it's the biggest kind of action-related death that we've had in the existence of Bulletproof Action. This was a huge one.
Yeah, I mean, along the years, we've lost a lot of our favorites, but this right here, I mean, this is the icon of our generation. We talk a lot about Bruce Lee, but, by the time you and I were in our formative years, Bruce Lee had already passed away. And, we were raised on a healthy dose of Chuck Norris. We were raised on the action films. We were raised on him crossing over and doing some family-oriented stuff. We were raised on the toys. Chuck Norris was everywhere, television, film, and now he is sadly no longer with us. But I have a feeling that tonight and in the future, we'll still be singing his praises as we look forward to more of his filmography and TV work at bulletproofaction.com.
Absolutely. And Ryan Campbell, I wanted to I can kind of assume, but maybe not. I shouldn't assume, but I would think your first exposure to Chuck Norris was Walker, Texas Ranger.
Yeah, definitely. Just between, watching Raw growing up as a kid and Walker episodes being on either before or after it, that was definitely my earliest exposure to him. But even though I wasn't consuming a lot of content from him, I was fully aware of his importance. Yeah. I mean, definitely, I would say the Mount Rushmore of that 90s action with Schwarzenegger, Stallone, JCVD, and Chuck Norris, I would say probably, I don't know who you'd be leaving off of that list, but yeah, definitely one of those people that transcended movies and became kind of a cultural icon. Even if people didn't watch action movies, they knew Chuck Norris, or they knew the kind of the jokes about tougher than Chuck Norris, or the memes of the never-ending string of comparisons for Chuck Norris. It transcended action movies and direct-to-TV and just movies in general, and he became kind of an American icon in regards to just toughness and action. So no bigger compliment than in this country than, sadly we just talked about Hulk Hogan in the last few months with his passing, right, of transcending the medium and just becoming this capstone of Americana. And I think definitely Chuck Norris fits the bill there.
Absolutely. Toyman, what is your earliest Chuck Norris memory?
I have, it's not a very vivid memory, but I do have a memory of my cousin putting on The Octagon when I was younger. And I am fairly certain that was the first time, that's at least the first time that I have a memory of watching it that I did not forget, whether it happened previously and it fell by the wayside, but that was the first time. And then, of course, as I was younger, I had seen the Missing in Action movies, and then moving forward, as I've discussed many times, I was obsessed with the Karate Commandos toys, which came out in 1986, the same year that this film here that we're going to discuss came out. So by the time I was 6, I was very well versed in Chuck Norris lore.
I think movie-wise, my first big exposure to him was probably Sidekicks.
Right. That would have been in your time.
Yeah, and being around that time, the kind of more kidness of it, and Three Ninjas and Surf Ninjas and all that kind of stuff that we were watching. I think it would kind of fit more. A lot of his more early the canon stuff wouldn't have got to my young mind at those ages. But that's one I definitely remember.
Yeah, for me, it was definitely Way of the Dragon, because I was, getting into Bruce Lee and would watch all the Bruce Lee movies. And he was there. That was my introduction to Chuck Norris. And then I remember renting An Eye for an Eye, and it was like, okay, I think I was just too young for it. But then when he made the Cannon debut, I mean, again, it was missing in action, Invasion USA, the Delta Force, missing in action too. I mean, these were all at a time where G.I. Joe was like one of the main things in my life. And this was like basically in so many ways a live action G.I. Joe. So, it's the reason I was into Chuck Norris movies. I didn't watch Charles Bronson movies until well later. I wasn't watching Bronson, but thanks to Bruce Lee and the whole martial arts angle, I was into Chuck Norris movies in the 80s where, I didn't catch up to Bronson for like 20 years after that almost. So,
and Chuck, you could kind of slot him into any action role. I mean, we saw him as a soldier. We saw him as kind of like a militant style badass. We saw him as a martial artist. We saw him as an adventurer. So, he really wasn't typecast. I mean, typecast as an action hero, maybe, but he did enough different stuff where you were like, okay, like here he is, as a martial artist. Here he is as a cop. Here he is as a military guy. So it wasn't like he had that one role that he had a knack for playing. He did, shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to be talking about here, because Firewalker, which was released November 21st, 1986, so the 40th anniversary coming up later this year. I mean, this one is, Chuck gets to kind of cut loose in this one, have some fun. It's more of an action comedy than, the straight up action movies he had been making. This is, as you pointed out, he was busy in 86 because early in the year, Valentine's Day of 86, the Delta Force, we have Karate Commandos in between, and now we have Firewalker. Toyman, when's the first time you recall watching Firewalker?
I remember watching it on cable. It was probably during like the premiere era of when it came on cable. So I would say sometime in 1987. I know my cousin had it recorded to a tape, so it was one of the tapes that resided in the family house that I've spoken about many, many times. And again, to your point, this was kind of like Indiana Jones meets like a buddy cop style comedy. He had Lou Gossett Jr. to play off of here, who was in another favorite of ours from 1986. How can we go through this podcast without mentioning the great Iron Eagle? So there were a lot of factors that kind of made Firewalker gave it even more appeal to a 6-year-old Toyman.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, I was obviously into both Louis Gossett Jr. and Chuck Norris. So this was a dream team. And when you're talking about dream teams, this was a Cannon film. And you see that Cannon logo, Ryan Campbell. I don't know about you, but I just get a warm and fuzzy feeling every time.
Yeah. No matter what is about to come after it, it's not going to be boring. That's for sure.
Right. Exactly. And this one directed by J. Lee Thompson. We have talked about some of J. Lee's movies over the years here on the podcast. More recently, it was Death Wish for the Crackdown, but we also did a 10 to Midnight podcast back in the day. But we start off right away. Like you said, Ryan, it's not boring because we immediately start off with a desert chase. We meet our two heroes, Max Dunnigan, Chuck Norris, and Leo Porter, Louis Gossett, and they're in their Jeep and they are being chased through the desert.
It's one thing I love about the kind of the canon verse, that the way that they almost handled these movies, that like the movies all don't take place in the same timeline, but because it's assumed that the people and the roles and the movie just gets right into it. Like we're just off and running, and you don't even necessarily need anything explained. Like they're not even necessarily doing it in a lot of environmental storytelling. You just kind of the actors, the roles. Let's go. Let's do this thing.
Yes. And when you just said the canon universe, it just, come on, people. Can we have a Lego canon game? Could you imagine all these levels? You've got the desert. You've got the blind beggar bar. You've got the urban streets where Bronson is. Oh, you've got, come on.
And here's the thing with the stuff these PC modders are doing, it don't even have to be officially made. There is a modder out there who could probably do it with a Lego game. Somebody took Starfield and just made an entire Star Wars MMO from scratch out of it. Like I know people can do it. Somebody can do it.
anybody who can translate what Ryan just said, please send that to me. But I'm excited nonetheless. They do manage to crash the Jeep into an oasis.
Not the band Oasis.
No, they weren't active at this point.
There's almost just as much of a chance of finding them in the middle of the desert than there is,
right, exactly.
Oasis, and he managed to find it.
He did, and then next thing,
that scene,
yeah,
I was going to say, in that scene, with the way that Lou Gossett is kind of chewing Chuck Norris out for crashing into the Oasis, they didn't know it at the time because he hadn't yet blown up. But looking back, if they were to remake Firewalker, you've got to put Samuel L. Jackson in the Lou Gossett role. Because just the way it's like, you crashed this stinking Jeep into this, 200 miles of stinking desert, that Sam L. would put his spin on that and would probably be even better than the Snakes on a Plane speech.
Good point. Let's remake it.
I did like how you had in this very beginning, they've established the kind of buddy cop vibe of the two. Yep. And they've established that Chuck Norris's character is kind of aloof in this a little bit, like kind of doesn't have luck, which I was just kind of saving it for the end. But I do like how Chuck Norris kind of plays a different role here. Like, not too many of these action stars are willing to maybe take a step back and play a little bit of kind of like a goof a little bit.
It's the opposite of what we talked about with Steve James on the Street Hunter episode.
Yeah.
Where he was just kind of like too cool for the room, like nothing ever really affected him. Whereas Chuck Norris is kind of like down on his luck, like he's a scrapper.
He's willing to be the butt of the joke, and he's still going to get his kicks off. He's still going to get, some action scenes, but largely he plays and I think he's much more interesting here than this is always kind of just being the bad. I don't think you'd ever get JCVD to do this role. Even now, he won't compromise and play like a aloof character.
Definitely not Seagal.
No. And Arnold later, like much later in his career, he started to soften a little bit on it, but I don't think at this time in '86 he would ever do anything like this. Mm-hmm. So props to Chuck for kind of willing to kind of be the butt of the joke a little bit.
Yeah, so they crashed, then they're tied down into the just on the ground under the hot desert sun. The general shows up.
Were you inspired by the scene with the general for the insult that Chuck throws his way? I feel like that kind of sets up your usual go-to for our little back and forths that we have.
Oh, what did he say, Toyman?
He said to the general, "You'll always be bald."
That's true, he did.
The general played by Richard Lee Sung, who appeared in the Incredible Hulk episode that had Mako in it.
There you go. Thank you, Toyman. But
he looks familiar from something that I... What was it, though? I'm just scrolling through the list here, making for good TV here, trying to see what I don't know.
Definitely TV, it's radio.
I definitely recognize him from something, but I don't know what it was.
He was like an 80s and 90s character actor.
Maybe I'm just being racist. I don't know.
Oh, geez, yeah.
Please. He was in Inspector Gadget. Did you watch Inspector Gadget?
I saw that, but I doubt that was it. Yeah, I don't know, Brain.
All right. Well, if you figure it out, put it in the comments on the YouTube. So yeah, we the general's bald. He's taking Polaroids of these guys because we don't have cell phones yet.
Common theme in the movie of people taking photos.
Right.
Very documented trip here.
We'll get more. And he's like, well, I can't leave you out here in the desert without water. So he puts a Perrier bottle in Max's hand, and then they all drive off. But of course now they're tied down, so the water really does no good. Or does it? Toyman, we got a moment here. Max has a moment.
A moment to save himself and save Leo.
That's right, because he busts the bottle with his bare hand.
You know how hard that would be to do, honestly? Like, if you put like an egg, even just like in the very center of your hand, it's like really hard to crush it.
Try it. Everyone, if you want to pause this, go get an egg, put it in the center of your hand.
Right in the center, right in that kind of like that little meaty little spot right in the middle of your hand.
Yeah.
And just try to crush it. Not with your don't just dig your fingertips in it, like just with pressure, try to crush it. But yeah,
put a glass underneath, and then you could drink it like Rocky.
There you go. But that takes some raw, and it's also a maniacal way to kill somebody, just to put that right in their hand, like the thing that would save them.
It's psychological.
Yeah.
Both physical and psychological torture. But yeah.
I gotta say though, I'm pretty sure I could get out of that situation even without the water. I mean, it's sand, Brain. I feel like just kind of moving back and forth. Eventually, you would dig enough of like a pocket that you could just pull one of your limbs out.
You're right. You're right. But you know what? It's a movie, and he uses the glass. He cuts the rope. He frees himself. He frees Leo. And next thing you know, I mean, the movie wastes no time going from one place to the next. Because next thing you know, we are back in the good old USA. We're in Arizona at their favorite watering hole, Tubbs Bar. And this is where we meet our third hero, Patricia, played by Melody Anderson, who Toyman remembers from the TV movies High School USA and Beverly Hills Madam.
Oh, I've got them both on VHS. Actually, I might actually have High School USA somewhere, but Beverly Hills Madam I did not recall until I saw your note.
And of course, the rest of us remember her from Flash Gordon. But she's there at the bar. She's looking for some brave men with
78 episodes of All My Children, Brain.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, but I figured Toyman was.
I did watch All My Children for a brief time when Sarah Michelle Gellar was on there.
Toyman somehow, again, folks, if you listen back to everything Toyman says he watched, he would have had to have 36 hours in each of his days, and I don't know that he could do that.
I will tell you.
Everything somehow, or he never slept. He just recorded stuff, and then he would, when the actual shows would end at 1:00 in the morning, he would check, make sure there was nothing he wanted to watch on cable, and then he's like, okay, I can now watch my recording of All My Children.
I can't believe he's got an All My Children poster up behind him, Brain. I don't know how you pulled that off.
Susan Lucci is looking at me right now. But I will tell you that at my house, we had 2 VCRs. Actually, we had 3. We had one in the living room, we had one on the cable box upstairs, and we had one in my room, which was just on the local TV. With my father being a firefighter, he often worked long days, odd hours, so he was not always home to tie up the television at night. My mom was not a big, I have to watch this show. It was only certain things. So at any time, I had 1 or 2 VCRs going. And then at my grandparents' house up the road, there was a VCR up in their bedroom and a VCR in my uncle's room that I could utilize because they had channels that I did not have, like Cinemax at my house at that time. And then you had my older cousin who was at the house that I always call it the family house because I had grown up in it. But even after I moved out, it was still my family's house, my aunts and everything. And he would record stuff for us to watch when I got babysat or when I got dropped off at that house. So don't forget, I was taking martial arts. I was playing soccer. I was playing Little League. I was playing basketball. I was involved in school activities. And I still managed to find the time somewhere.
This is my point. You would have had to have 36 hours in your day and never sleep any of them.
It's like that dumb Manosphere video where the dude's like, I have 3 days in one day. Yeah. 8 a.m. to 10, that's what day 1. You stack them up, I'm going to kill you. And it's like, what? That's not how time works.
Toyman is like Hulk Hogan traveling from the U.S. to Japan and wrestling 500 times in a year. He just...
And it's because I changed time zones, so
yeah,
it worked.
Yeah. You're full of shit. All right, now listen. Patricia's looking for brave men of undying loyalty who are not too smart. So the bartender, of course, points her in the direction of Max
me and Brain.
What?
No, there's a movie I'd like to watch.
Brain would probably rather walk on actual fire than have to be in an action.
Baldy in the Brain.
Oh, now we're just talking about Animaniacs. Never mind an action movie.
Coming soon to BPA TV. Or BPA Plus.
Of course, everything's a plus. Except that movie. All right, listen. Now, Patricia, she has the business proposition for Max and Leo. She has a map, and she believes it leads to gold.
You have my attention? 2 down on their luck scoundrels, just looking for a big score.
Guys who just love to go on adventures.
That's right.
She found the right 2. And the reason she believes that the gold, because there's people are willing to kill for that map. And then so they're like, oh, so they're intrigued. But then when she mentions the Cyclops, they kind of are like, oh, cuckoo. They're like, this woman ain't right. But then moments later, they almost get killed. So suddenly, some of her stuff that she had to say definitely has some credence now, Ryan Campbell.
Yeah, she might need to work on her pitch work a little bit. Maybe like take some business classes or something, learn some effective public speaking skills or something. Because you gotta really wait to pull the red-skinned Cyclops with long hair trying to kill me bit after you maybe get them, in contract or something. Maybe but she gets bailed out by a assassin attempt, so that usually shows them that there must be something to this. You don't kill people for nothing.
Right, exactly. And you know what? Maybe we could see if we can get a group discount with her and all take public speaking classes. But we'll see.
I did in college.
I'm sure you did.
I had to take. That was one class I had to take.
It really shows in your work here.
Thank you.
Anyway, so yeah, and again, so they're like, okay, they almost died. No, they don't. They're good. We're on the expedition now, Toyman. We don't waste time. Like, okay, we're just there. We're where we need to be.
Yeah, there's not a lot of plot building. It's kind of just like going fluidly. We're just going to jump right into the adventure and kind of fill in the void with some expository conversation.
We kind of call those like theme park movies.
Okay.
Like if you think about like a theme park ride where you're like sitting there and it just moves from one scene to the next, and you're like a dark ride or something where like, like Pirates of the Caribbean ride or something like, this happens. Then you move into the next room and then, this happens and stuff's just happening in front of you. It's kind of like that. There's not really as much plot as much as you're just moving from set piece to set piece.
And that's fine by me.
No, yeah, it's perfectly fine. We just call those, usually those are kind of referred to as like theme park movies.
Oh, you know what? I have a feeling our friend, the direct video connoisseur, is going to send me a message about that, because somebody might listen to his podcast and send smart ass messages throughout. So I'm waiting for that one. All right.
Shout out to him for doing Scorned, one of my favorite Shannon Tweed movies.
Oh yeah, that was quite the podcast. They talked about erotic lithographs. So you might want to check that out if that's your thing.
They're DTV After Dark.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Him and John. Oh yeah. When him and John get together, things get after dark. Anyway, the guide that took him to this mountain, or I don't know, they're looking for this cave. So the guide's like, okay, this is where it should be. But he's like, you know what? I don't want to be around here. He's spooked. So he gets the hell out of there. And so now Max, Patricia, and Leo have to climb up to find this cave. And we see, Ryan Campbell, that they're being watched by someone.
Yes, someone with a eye patch brain, which some could mistake that for being a Cyclops, possibly.
Quite possibly. They make it inside the cave, and Max finds a skull, and all of a sudden the eyes start glowing red. And he drops it because he drops it because he freaks out, and I wouldn't blame him. And there was a dagger inside, and it has like a ruby on the butt of the handle. So apparently that thing just started glowing for some reason.
Captured some light and started bouncing around in there,
You're right. Okay. I didn't know if it was magic. But then he takes the dagger, and it's time for some funny Polaroids.
Yep, this is where Chuck gets to kind of flex his comedic muscles a little bit. He gets to do some wacky faces, makes the eyes go cross-eyed, does some selfies in front of the mural wall. It's good stuff.
He's having a good time.
But Shannon's version of Snapchat.
Right.
He doesn't take himself too seriously, which is nice.
It is. It was a nice change of pace. And some natives grab up Patricia, and this is where we establish another little, something that you would not expect from Chuck Norris, Toyman. I mean, we've seen Chuck Norris do some amazing things up to this point in previous films, but here, Chuck Norris, Max, he's got a gun, but this is not the Chuck we're used to.
No, because if this was any other movie, Delta Force, Invasion USA, Missing in Action 2, Ryan Campbell, have to shout that one out for you. These people would already be dead. But instead here, we've got Chuck Norris, who is willing to jump into action, but he's not as polished as the heroes that predated and postdated Firewalker.
Correct.
It was such a bit brain. I thought for a minute they were like introducing some sort of supernatural angle, like he physically couldn't hurt these Native Americans or something. Because like surely they wouldn't cast Chuck Norris to just be like a terrible shot in the film. But again, props to him for willing. Yeah,
they did it. The guy who snatched up Patricia sees the dagger though, and he just jumps to his own death. So something's up. This is. Just
you're a good weapon when you don't even have to be used as a weapon. Just
right.
Give your presence cause someone to just unalive themselves.
So this is just adding to like, okay, we're on to something here because people don't just do that for no
The weirder shit gets brain, the closer you are to the gold.
Mm-hmm.
Words to live by, everybody.
Thank you. And again, we do see a shot of El Coyote, Sonny Landham. He's watching.
Great Sonny Landham.
What's that, Toyman?
I said the great Sonny Landham, another constant in 80s and 90s action viewing.
Of course. Ryan Campbell, where do you remember him from?
It's Predator, right? Wasn't he the one with the other? Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Predator, Action Jackson.
That's the best two.
That's the best two. Yeah. So he's done some stuff.
What was the Lockup?
Lockup.
With Stallone.
You know what? That's one I've never seen. Can you believe it?
Really?
Can you really?
Didn't we try to do that for like 2 straight months or something? Why am I thinking of?
No, you were trying to avoid getting locked up for 2 straight months.
I'm always, every day I'm avoiding trying to get locked up. I thought there was like, we kept trying to recover it and it just kept getting pushed and pushed.
You might be talking about another podcast you were going to go do. I don't know.
Maybe.
You know what he was in, Brain? What we just talked about a couple of weeks back when it popped up on the Universal Action. He was in the famous Viking Bikers from Hell episode of Miami Vice.
That is right. With Reb Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. So they find a bar, and that's going to kind of be a running theme. Wherever they are, they're going to find a bar. The bartender.
Wherever they are, there's a bar.
Exactly. That's where you get the information. Like, and any Dungeons and Dragons player knows when you get to a new town and you need to figure out some shit, you head to the saloon, or you head to the tavern, or you head to the bar. No one knows more than that bartender.
Well, and that's true, because this bartender, after a little greasing of the wheels, advises them to seek the wisdom of Tall Eagle. And when you go to a man like Tall Eagle, you don't go empty-handed. You bring him a bottle of Firewater, and because that's going to make it a little easier when his I Love Lucy is interrupted, Toyman.
A man after my own heart, sitting there watching classic sitcoms in the middle of an action movie.
Getting drunk. That's right.
That's right.
Was it weird? I wonder if there was like some alternate scenes or different, if they made some changes, because it seemed to me like they knew him. I didn't buy that it was like their first time meeting. I thought perhaps like they had run-ins with him or knew him or something. I don't know.
I think that's part of the whole vibe they had. Like they just kind of show up and
just kind of walks in and they're just like, "What's up?" And he's kind of like, just kind of, I don't know. I just think
maybe he knew they were coming because he has powers.
Perhaps.
Well, he doesn't just want to help them for nothing. So he's kind of like, what do we get out of it if you find this gold? And Max rattles off a number of 20%, which
he's not picking up on social cues very well either.
No. He just gives off 20%. And then Tall Eagle gets into the tale, the legend of the Firewalker.
To be fair, that they're going to earn that 20% is going to get paid back pretty well later in the movie.
Oh yeah. And after he tells the legend of the Firewalker, he also then mentions, and we could probably realize it just due to the menacing look of Sonny Landham, but he tells them, beware of the Coyote.
Oh, it's the Cyclops Coyote.
And then Tall Eagle gives Patricia like a little bag of dust or something.
Is that some peyote or something?
Some sort of natural thing that will ward off the evil spirits.
There you go.
And it'll come into play. Again, movies don't show you things for no reason.
That's right. Especially this one. That's just on a breakneck pace. If they dedicate time to something, you best believe it's going to matter.
Indeed. Then we see El Coyote performing some sort of ceremony with a snake. I was not a fan of this moment, as I'm not a snake fan. So now, though, we see our trio there at a hotel, and a woman, a rather lovely woman, pays Max a visit. And Ryan Campbell, she uses her feminine wiles to drug poor Max.
Yeah, he kind of gets suckered right into that one. If a woman just shows up randomly at your hotel room and it's like, "Hey, I've got this drink here. It's to help you." Don't know. That's not to help you.
No, you're going to end up with no wallet, possibly no pants.
Maybe missing a kidney or something. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I believe it. But, she just drugged them so she could kill them. But Patricia intervenes, and now...
Not just intervenes, Brain. She is awoken from her slumber.
Yeah, she's having one of her visions that we're going to learn more about.
By a rival chanting going on from Tall Eagle.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Coyote doing his snake thing. You got Tall Eagle just sweating it out in his sweat hut.
Yeah.
And we got some dueling juju going on.
Indeed. There's like, "Hey, how are you?" Yeah, it was like that. And then
wake your ass up. Right.
And now this is certainly a Chuck. There's a lot that isn't what we're used to for Chuck Norris, but him breaking the bottle with his bare hand, that's classic Chuck Norris. Women literally fighting on top of him. That seems like a Chuck Norris type thing too.
Fully clothed. There was nothing sexual or anything about it.
But that's the beauty
of it. This is family canon.
That's the beauty, though, is they've slipped in these standard Norris-isms, but not in the conventional way that it doesn't pull from who his character is or from the movie. They've managed to stay true to who he is as an actor and let him kind of do his thing, but also just in a new way. And I really appreciate it.
What other action star, Toyman, have you ever seen two women fighting on top of?
Earl Hebner?
Earl Hebner is a action star now.
I just know the spots where the divas would roll over top of them in their bras and panties.
I say define action, because to some people, Peter North is an action star.
Oh, come on! What are we talking?
Brain, can you give us your best bra and panties line read from a JR read?
I'm glad you continued that sentence, because when you said, "Brain, can you give us your best bra and panties?" I was like, "Whoa, Ryan, where's this going?"
Bra. JR, why would he always have to really bra and panties? There's always very, JR could.
He was trying to bring a little brevity,
he could really rattle shit off when he was gone. But that we'd bring it down. Bra and
panties.
God bless JR. So yeah, they're fighting on top of Max, fully clothed, Toyman, other than the Peter North movie that he also recorded. So Leo hears the commotion and he saves the day. And then
Leo gets woke up too.
Yeah.
What you got against Tall Eagle, Brain? Why are you taking his importance? He's earning that 20%, waking all these people up so they can save the day.
All right, it's okay. It was
also, how uncomfortable do you two get with a knife hovering right above the eye spot in the movie?
Oh man, that's not good.
Yeah, it always gets me kind of yeah.
Leo and Patricia then have a heart-to-heart, and because Max is drugged and he's not going to be up anytime soon, we then soon find out that evil woman was actually a snake. At least that's what I took.
Cold-hearted snake?
Yeah.
Because Chuck did look into her eyes.
The Jezebel, to bring back the JR.
Uh-oh. You've been telling lies, Toyman. Anyway, we're going to go off to San Miguel now. We're done at this hotel. We've got to go find another one.
What movie was San Miguel in, Brain? I didn't see that on IMDb.
San Miguel means whale's vagina. Now listen. They arrive at the hotel at San Miguel, and Max and Leo are bickering because these rooms aren't the best. Patricia hears Max call her a fruitcake from her room. She storms in. She gives him what for. And then where do they go? The local bar, of course.
To the bar. Yep.
And Max now is maybe trying to make up for his fruitcake comment. Maybe I don't know. Maybe he saw a side of her when she came in all fired up. Because now he's kind of flirting with Patricia while Leo is trying to get some information from the locals. And here's where we find out that ever since she was a girl, Patricia has had visions.
There we go. Now she's also a witch.
Which is which? I don't know. When Leo strikes out, Max is like, okay, I'll handle it. He just starts flashing cash at the bar.
Looking like Ted DiBiase in this place.
Indeed. And this gets the attention of Boggs, played by Ian Abercrombie, who Toyman remembers from Jack Frost, Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman, and the Colbys.
Oh, you see, now I own the complete series of the Colbys, and I own both Jack Frost movies. But Ian Abercrombie was in one of my favorite Cinemax After Dark movies, probably one of the best movie titles in movie history. He was in Test Tube Teens from the year 2000.
Oh, yeah. There you go. I know him from Seinfeld.
I know him as he was Darth Sidious or Chancellor Palpatine in a lot of Clone Wars episodes, Brain.
Oh, everybody loves those Star Wars cartoons. More coming up. Boggs points them in the direction of a man named Gutierrez. He's the best guide. But then, Toyman, there's a giant to deal with.
And I know Ryan was probably like, damn it, a perfect spot for Gary Robbins, but it was not to be.
He didn't do much work with canon. I don't think he wasn't in the Rolodex of stars.
Was this like the Mexican giant to Gary Robbins' Canadian giant?
There you go. When they did the sequel that never happened, where they were looking for a treasure in the Rocky Mountains of Canada, that's when we would have seen them. But
do
you know where Miguel Fuentes might be best known from?
Who are you asking, Toyman?
I'm asking either of you.
Oh, well, I know him from a few things. Ryan Campbell, do you have any recollection of this giant man?
I did not know.
He was.
I see a lot of Spanish named movies on his IMDb. So
he was in Puma Man, or
that's there you go. You hit it. He
Puma
was
Man,
that
or Puma Man,
classic Mystery Science Theater episode.
Puma Man.
I've seen that one.
Yeah. He was on. I believe the first episode of A-Team. He takes on BA, and then he was in The Evil That Men Do. In a very similar, he was in a bar fight where Bronson puts the testicular claw on him and takes him down to size. You don't matter.
I know what I remember him from. 1984's Frankenstein's Great Aunt Tilly.
That might be a better title than Test Tube Teens from the year 2000.
Yeah,
where he played, get it? The monster.
Well, I'm very interested in this. We might have to cover it in October if it's available.
It was Frankenstein's monster.
I think you've put two and two together, and you've done a good job with your math. But yeah, the big man throws Leo around a bit. Eventually, Max intervenes and puts him to sleep. But then he's looking. These other guys are getting a little handsy with Patricia, and we got what you need to have when you're in a bar. They've been in so many bars. We had to have a good old-fashioned, full-fledged bar fight, and we get it right here.
I gotta say,
we spot the cameo.
Cameo was there? Were they
word up? No, a cameo from a Bulletproof action favorite, someone who has appeared in minor and major roles in many things. And here's your hint: somebody who has a link to a recent podcast. Think of Snake Eater 2. Who could possibly have a link to something from Snake Eater 2, who's a very well-known character actor, that has been villain fodder and a good guy.
Was he just one of the guys in the fight, I guess? Are you saying?
He's one of the guys in the fight. He is best known. He has played Mexican, Latino, type characters before, but he's also played Native American. In fact, probably his best known major role, he played a Native American.
Was it the Epstein without a list from Welcome Back, Kotter?
It was Branscombe Richmond.
Branscombe, that is right. You know why? Know how I should have known that? Because he got another number on my Letterboxd for like my most seen actors, and I'm like, he was in there, and I'm like, I should have known. I'm like, yeah, he probably was. There he was, Branscombe Richmond.
Yep, he was like a Latino thug in Cage, but he was most famous for being Bobby Six Killer on Renegade with Lorenzo Lamas.
Very good. He was also an Action Jackson.
Yes, another Action Jackson alumni.
Mm-hmm.
But Brent, we're probably, you guys think, well, we're well 45 minutes into the movie at this point, right?
I would believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, and midway point.
And this is when we finally see Chuck Norris throw a kick, and I think that speaks to like the restraint that he's having in this role. But when he finally happens, when the lady of the group is her dignity is infringed upon, that's when we drop all of the kind of drunken monk kind of style buffoonery, and he just kind of stands up straight. The smile comes off his face, and he whips every single person in that bar's ass.
He does.
You saved it for the right time. You pulled out the Norris ass kicking fight scene with the first person views of getting punched in the face and people flying out of windows, flying through doors,
tables and
you saved it. You unleashed it at this point in the movie, and it pays off. Whereas, like, if every scene was this for the past 45 minutes, it wouldn't mean shit by now.
Wouldn't resonate. Right. Well, after that big bar fight, we see that bastard Boggs selling out our heroes to El Coyote. And next thing you know, again, we don't need to know where they got these outfits from. We don't care.
Also, El Coyote kills Boggs with his great Kali. I don't know how he does it. I can still see that he wasn't fully covering his mouth, but he kind of just face palms him to death.
He may have had poop on his hands. I don't know.
May have been it.
But yeah, we now see our heroes, and they're in disguise. Again, we don't need to know where they got these disguises from, but we're two priests and a nun going to train.
They're resourceful people. There's probably some sort of like Spanish church nearby the bar or whatever. They just slipped in, grabbed some clothing, and zipped right out.
And there's more Max and Patricia flirting as they're in their train car or little cabin, and then
it's the forbidden fruit of the nun outfit, Brain. That's what does it.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Leo is catching some Z's while they're doing their thing, but suddenly the train stops. We got soldiers coming on board, and they're like, "Well, we don't have any kind of papers." And they grab up a guy, and they're looking for his papers. Like, oh shit, we don't have papers. The guy ends up getting shot, and then the soldiers come and they see these men of the cloth and the nun, and the wife of the man who was shot's like, "Can you deliver last rites?" In Toyman, it is a freaking miracle.
This is a good scene to we've all made the point, but to Ryan's point, this is Chuck Norris like being goofy now. Like this is like a Three Stooges style thing of walking around in disguise to get out of trouble. This is definitely not what you would normally get out of a Chuck Norris movie. So now we're kind of getting into the wacky shenanigans aspect of the film. And I have to say, Lou Gossett is playing a great straight man with all of this stuff, because he's not afraid to, talk shit to Max and kind of give him a good old what for with all the trouble that they're getting into.
So yeah, the guy ends up, he's alive, and they find his papers. They think it's, so now the soldiers are like, "Oh, can you bless me?" Sure, why not? So now they arrive to their next destination to find Gutierrez. But this town, Ryan Campbell, it looks like goddamn Middletown.
There's Sorgites coming out of the woodwork. Yeah.
Just nothing there. Maybe some cash for gold place. But other than that,
some pawn shops that are boarded up by the time you get to town.
Right. It's not looking good. But who is there? Some soldiers again, these damn soldiers. Now we have a chase in the banana fields. They got to ditch their priestly robes. Patricia has to get rid of the habit. That's the clothes, not any of her bad habits. She keeps those. And then Ryan Campbell, we're in dangerous territory. Fortunately, this was I believe this was a PG movie.
Yeah, lucky for us, Patricia must have watched enough canon films to kind of know what was about to happen here. She gets cornered by one of the officers and tries to tell him that, oh, I'm not really a nun, blah, blah. And he starts stripping down because he's seen enough movies too. He knows how this works. And then she kind of plays possum and kind of like acts like she's like faints or whatever, and then pulls a gun on him and gets out of the situation. Because like I said, she's seen enough of these, but she ain't, we're not getting tits out in this one.
Right. She pulls out her piece before he could.
That's right.
And I did like the use of cornered in the cornfield. Very well done, Ryan Campbell. Later that night, they are now just camping in the jungle because there's no hotels in the middle of the jungle for them to check into. So they're just going to make a campsite. And Leo starts talking about what he's going to do with his money. And he wants to sail around the world in style. But once again, that goddamn Coyote is still watching. Patricia has one of her visions. Max has to snap her out of it. And then next morning, they're surrounded and they're being captured. And it's not looking too good for Max and Leo, Ryan Campbell. Did I lose you again, Ryan Campbell?
No, I'm lost. I thought they woke up and Max and Leo was missing.
No, not yet. This time they're all caught. They all get caught, and they take
impending doom is coming for them.
Yeah, they take Patricia away, and then it looks like Max and Leo are about to get their heads chopped off.
Okay, yep, I'm back there with you. Yes, that's right. Their heads are on the chopping blocks. How are they going to get out of this one? And then our good friend, we hear a voice that they recognize from behind. It's, I guess, an old acquaintance of theirs, Corky Taylor, played by the incomparable John Rhys-Davies. Of course, we've got some Raiders alums in here, some Indiana Jones alums. Of course, the iconic Gimli and Lord of the Rings. But to have a alumni from the Raiders franchise, I think really lended some credibility to the movie at this point.
Oh, Cannon loved it. I mean, Cannon wanted that piece, their piece of that Indiana Jones pie, by God. And this is because he was
better. I think this did better than the Chamberlain stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. He was in one of the Alan Quartermain ones though, too. I
he was. This feels more though. That felt like a kind of a blatant ripoff. This feels more
like in the spirit of.
Yeah, let's take that idea, but put a
kind of like
twist
the Mummy
on it.
Kind of like what the Mummy did. It was like it had that very Indiana Jones feel to it, but it was its own thing. So yeah, Corky, he runs this camp, so they're fine. And there's a big feast. I believe Corky does hit a little bastards at this point, which is the only bastard we have in the film. And he starts telling old war stories. And then there's some dancing in the rain. And the next day, though, Toyman, what a gift he gives our heroes.
The Volkswagen Bug with the like wooden spikes around the tires. It's kind of like retrofitted for militant purposes.
Right.
Hey, they did like the Baja Rally and all kinds of stuff in Bugs. They might have had some different materials on them, like some jacked up wheels and all that. But yeah, those things can be buggies.
Camouflage paint. They're ready. They're ready to do some off-roading. And now
which does not go well.
No, well, yeah, it's going to get worse. Once again, they have to camp out in the jungle, and this is the one, Ryan Campbell, where Leo is going to wash the dishes after dinner because he sees that Max and Patricia may be having a little special time coming. And next thing you know, Leo is missing. Max is freaking out.
Yeah, no one's coming tonight, Brain.
And Max, he's like, no, we got to call the whole thing off. Patricia's like, no, we're too close. I'm going with her without you. So
really falling apart without his buddy.
Yeah, you can see this friendship. You know, they're in this together. They've done all these adventures together. He's never not done an adventure with his boy Leo, and now what's happening? And this is what Toyman was talking about, because all right, we'll get back in this bug. We're gonna get going, and they cross like a little river or a stream. Well, they don't really cross it though. They sink. And if you ever wanted to see Chuck Norris do the dog paddle, Firewalker is the movie for you.
There you go. He manages to sink 2 vehicles in bodies of water in this film.
Right.
It seems to be a recurring theme. It's like his gimmick here in Firewalker.
He really his depth perception with water is not really great.
Well, to be fair, that first one he didn't realize it was there till it was too late. The Oasis. You know, now, despite all of this, however, Max and Patricia do find this temple that they've been looking for. And as a bonus, Leo is there. Leo was captured by El Coyote. Now he's hanging precariously over bubbling water, which I assume is not something you want to be in, Ryan Campbell.
No, you definitely, if water's naturally boiling like that, you're not going to last very long in it, even if it doesn't just like fry you.
What do you think's under there? You think there's liquid hot magma underneath there?
Yeah, I think definitely that's a natural hot spring. Like Dante's Peak. If anyone out there seen Dante's Peak? I watched that recently.
I don't watch old movies. Anyway. Yeah, and this is where they come fate. You know, we've seen El Coyote, we've seen our heroes, but now they're all in one place at the same time. And Coyote has a deal. You give me that dagger, I give you Leo. Max agrees. Of course, in classic fashion, this does not go well. It backfires. Coyote doesn't free Leo. He takes the dagger, takes Patricia, because he's like, now I have who I can sacrifice and become the Firewalker. Ding. And now
I would have liked maybe some clarity on what exactly the powers the Firewalker will have.
He can walk on
on fire.
Yeah.
I mean, how does that do him any good?
I don't know. I was going to say something, but that's mean. I'll say it after.
It's just one of those cool 80s names that didn't mean anything. It just sounded right.
Right. Yeah, like Skywalker. Anyway.
But his goal wasn't to walk in the sky.
Wasn't it though? He wanted to get off. He wanted to get off Tatooine. Think about it.
I get what you're saying.
Think about it. He wanted off that fucking berg. He wanted to fly in the sky.
There you go.
Or skywalk. For those in the know. Anyway, so now Max and Leo are stuck in this cave with the cauldron of water. So Max is like, okay, I got to get Leo off. So he jumps and joins Leo. And now they're swinging precariously back and forth. And it does eventually work. Max gets him out of that predicament. But of course, now they got like, okay, we're loose. We're free. You're free. But what about Patricia? We got to find Patricia. El Coyote has given her the proper ceremonial dress that one wears when being sacrificed, because you can't just be wearing like something from the Jacqueline Smith collection.
Yeah, whatever being you're sacrificing to will not accept it if you're not in the pure white.
It was awfully fast. He got her undressed and all dressed up rather quickly. Like
Peter North, that guy works. Anyway, he started the ceremony, and now for the first time in history, Max gets the gun and hits his intended target on the first try. Excellent.
See, there's the payoff.
Yeah, there's the payoff to the bit. Well, Cannon, well done. And you got to.
They stuck to theirs and they paid it off. They didn't like get down to like running out of money at the end and just have to shoot shit until they just not pay off that bit.
Right. That would be next year.
That was one thing I remembered that stuck out to me watching this. This is one of the rare movies where it felt like it got an ending and they actually got to like film it as they wanted and edit it.
Yeah.
A lot of these movies, the ends, you're like, you can just see the seams, man. You can see that there was like no more days left of shooting. They were just like getting shots, out of money, just get something in the can so we can finish this damn thing.
They were still good. They were on good ground here. It was the following year like where they started rolling the dice a little bit too much. And
it felt like they executed on their vision and got like what they wanted to do here. So
right. But he shoots Max shoots Coyote, pronouns. And you got to think though, well, that was a rather quick death for this character that they've built up this whole time. But all right. Anyway,
I'm square in the chest. You can see the entry.
Yeah. So you're like, okay, I guess that's just what they're going to do. So Max gets Patricia out of the trance that she was under, and now they got to find the gold. It ends up being that the dagger, if you take the dagger and put it in the altar, it opens up a secret passage.
The dagger is always a key, Brain.
It's the key. And that's why everybody wanted that dagger. And there is so much gold down there. Patricia in tears because she's like, oh, thank God. I wasn't a freaking lunatic all these years. These visions were true. And
whenever I watch movies like this, I always get anxiety at this point because I just would think like how I would want to get all that gold out of there as fast as possible.
Yeah. They had a lot. They loaded up all those. I don't know where those bags came from, but they had them. And
they were back in the buggy. They just had to go back to the buggy and get them out.
They would have been soaking wet.
Let them dry out. Yeah.
But of course, Toyman, El Coyote was not dead.
No, just like any good horror movie villain, he rises to torment our heroes one final time for an actual final battle.
Indeed. And Patricia, again, that dagger comes into play. She stabs him in the back, which does slow him down. But this is where Ryan Campbell, Chuck, gets to Chuck a little bit more and be the one to finish off this dastardly Coyote.
Yep, we get one final POV shot, smack down shot, and he falls back onto the slab there that he intended to do the sacrificing, and now he will become the sacrificee.
Right, because Patricia gets her little bag from Tall Eagle and sprinkles that dust on him, and he just combusts.
Yeah, the fire walked him.
Yeah, that's right, you bastard. And then you know what? We don't need to see how they got all these bags of gold and the exchange rates and all that. Next thing you know, they are just living the high life at a resort in Fiji. And we cut to the bartender, Toyman.
That looked like an awesome resort.
It is.
They're like, it's like on a hillside, and like it's just like, oh man, I want to go find some gold so I can go to that place.
You should.
I mean, compared to some of the hotels they stayed at earlier in the film, anything's better.
Right, that's true. But then, Toyman, we cut to the bartender at the resort. A familiar face.
Get the wacky ending, the wacky comedic ending.
That's right, because it's the general.
It's the general from the beginning of the movie.
Not from the car insurance commercials.
No.
No, not him. Shaquille O'Neal is nowhere in Firewalker.
And he hits his
the general, line. Just as we saw him in the beginning, leaving them to die. Now he pops up at the end, kind of chuckling to himself as like this wacky side. He went from an attempted murder to being like a wacky joke character at the end of the film.
Yeah, and was that a tease for Firewalker 2? We may never know.
I mean, Cannon did have a knack of promising or intending on delivering sequels that never happened. We know what their business model looked like,
right?
But I remember the movie Making the Grade with Judd Nelson, a great comedy that Cannon did, and at the end credits they actually promised that the characters in that film would be back in a film called Tourista, which never came to be. So they actually went as far as putting it in the credit, and we never got that sequel.
And Lewis got this was the first of what was supposed to be 3 movies for him, and I think that's the only one they made.
Mm-hmm.
So, because again, come 87 is when things started falling apart for them. Yep. But we wrapped up 86 strong for Cannon because they came up with Firewalker. We get the end credits. Ryan Campbell, your final thoughts on this very unconventional Chuck Norris movie?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought that props to Chuck for, like we've been talking about throughout the whole episode, real willing to kind of do something a little bit different, maybe go against type, but still feel in a comfortable spot. And again, also kind of be the butt of the joke. Like we said too, the movie's just a thrill ride. It doesn't feel disjointed. It's not frustrating that there's no plot. I know we've kind of said a few times how there's not much of a plot, but it's not to the point where it's super frustrating like other movies we've reviewed where we're like, what the hell's going on? Like it's simple enough that you can just fill in the gaps and you know what's going on. But they also, like we said, waste no time. We're one scene to the next. Every scene's a little bit different. You've got some that are more comedic. You got some that are a little more action oriented. None of them kind of feel redundant. Like we didn't need this because we had this scene. It's just a fun little adventure movie, and Chuck Norris is really good in it. I feel like part of what makes him good is being able to play off Lou Gossett Jr. I think he kind of brings maybe the more stable role in this type of kind of buddy cop duel movie, which just allows Chuck to just kind of bounce off and kind of feel comfortable kind of going crazy with what he's doing because Lou Gossett's kind of the rock there. So it was just really good. I really enjoyed it. It was a good flick. And I wish I could have given Chuck his flowers for it as my nemesis when he was still with us. But it was a wonderful tribute movie, Brain.
Toyman.
This is a fun one. I will admit it's not the default button on Chuck Norris movies if I'm reaching for one. So it had been a while since I watched it. But after watching it, some of those childhood memories of watching it like on a weekend afternoon kind of came flooding back. To me, it doesn't even really have an 80s feel to it. It almost feels like it could be a bit older as far as movies go. But to see Chuck Norris do something outside of the box, and this was a successful movie. This was actually, I think this was Cannon's biggest movie in 1986, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So the fact that he tried something different and was successful at doing it, and 1986 was the year for that. We mentioned Karate Commandos. Sidekicks wasn't until 6 years later. That was 1992, 93. But no, this was a fun movie. I mean, all three main actors are likable. I think that Lou Gossett and Chuck Norris had a nice chemistry. It would have been nice if they got a sequel or some type of series of films where they're going on different random adventures. I definitely would have been down for that. And of course, this was Cannon trying to cash in on a craze, just like they did with everything else. But it worked. It's not one of their. It's funny because it was their best movie of 1986, but I don't think this is one that gets a lot of talk. Like, I don't think this one gets a lot of play these days. And I really think it should, because if you're looking for Chuck Norris doing something different and succeeding at it, this is it right here.
Yeah, to me, it's like what you said, Toyman. It's not one I'm like, oh, I'm in the mood for some Chuck Norris. I'm going to grab Firewalker. Usually I get to the Invasion USA, the Delta Force, Missing in Action. But every time I do have a reason to watch for whatever reason, it's one that grows on me more and more. I like it more and more every time I watch it. It's like pretty soon, maybe it will become the one I go to because it's a fun movie. It's a fun movie. It's a different thing than Chuck did. It does not hurt that it also features Lou Gossett, another one of my favorites. So they, as you guys said, great chemistry with them. They work well together. Wish we got more of them together, but this one's good. And if you've slept on this one or it's been a long time since you've watched it, give it a watch. Pay tribute to the great Chuck Norris, as we have done here on this episode. And, let us know what your favorite Chuck Norris movie is. You can do so over on social media at Bulletproof Pod on X, at Bulletproof Pod on Blue Sky, Bulletproof Action on Instagram and Facebook. We're also Bulletproof Pod on Letterboxd, and you can follow me on Letterboxd at Chris the Brain. And if you've been over on bulletproofaction.com over the past few days, you may have noticed we have yet another giveaway because fear comes home. Nowhere is safe. Prepare to scream. You could buy or rent Scream 7 on digital now. It'd be a killer time, but you could test your luck if you haven't already and enter the contest. We are giving away digital codes for Scream 7. I will be randomly polling the winners on Friday, April 3rd. So you still have a couple days. If you have not already done it, you can enter that contest. Of course, that's over on bulletproofaction.com. And yesterday, as this drops, I reviewed the latest from Wellgo USA, Blazing Fists. That one is now available from Wellgo on digital Blu-ray DVD. You can check that out. Last Friday, I reviewed Mike and Nick and Alice. And then last Thursday, I reviewed a movie that just came from out of nowhere, seemingly. Pretty Lethal, Ryan Campbell. Ballerinas versus the mob.
That sounds right down your alley.
It was.
How many bastards were in it?
Only one.
Oh.
Only one, from Uma Thurman, no less. Who does a fantastic job in that. Just a crazy film.
You want to talk about crazy films? There is a trailer that came out today.
Okay.
For a movie, it's a J.J. Abrams produced movie. It almost looks like it could be a Cloverfield movie.
I know what you're talking about because I watched it too.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor and she played Catwoman in the Nolan ones. Anne Hathaway. Yeah. Their whole street is transported to like prehistoric times.
Oh, that's Ryan Campbell.
And the trailer implies that there's like some dinosaur looking creatures, but they don't show a hell of a lot. You see like just a glimpse, but that just seemed like a weird ass movie. But yeah.
Isn't that what they did on NBC a couple years back with that La Brea show?
I think that was less like, this seems more like supernatural, like they're just teleported, where that was like the ground opened up and they like fell into like the hollow earth kind of thing. So it's a little bit more like seismic activity, not necessarily. This just seems like they're literally transported millions of years in the past or something. I don't know.
Seems like something Ryan Campbell's going to watch, folks.
But yeah, that seemed like a crazy movie.
Coming up once we hit April, because can you believe we're wrapping up March?
That's insane.
Years
flying by.
But I'll have some Shaw Brothers. I haven't covered a Shaw Brothers movie in a while. Ryan Campbell will continue his coverage of Monarch, Legacy of Monsters.
Yep, I'm reading them. I might be the only one, but I'm reading them.
You know what? I have the updated information from last week's episode. It had a -7.
At this point, I'm watching it anyway. I might as well write them and whatever.
-7. You may say, how do you get -7 views? That's because we asked 7 people who don't go to bulletproofaction.com if they did, would they read that? And they said no. So we just put -7 there. Invincible, however, Ryan Campbell, people love that one.
Yeah, but that's a little more that's a proven commodity now, Brain. That's a pretty proven series on the site. It's been really solid, but feels like we're just built like after this episode this week. It was one of the, no, I hesitate. I hate the word filler. I'm not going to call it filler, but it was set up and it had a really big last moment that's setting up for, I think the rest of the season is going to be balls to the walls at this point.
All right. Well, we'll see if the traffic reflects that. And then next week you've got yet a third show to cover, because you're going to get like double episodes of Maul Shadow Lord beginning next week.
That's right. We've got they released a clip today, Brain. Looked really cool. I'm super excited about it. Always been a Maul fan. I've got a hot toy of like that version of Maul from like the Clone Wars finale, which is kind of what this Maul is, but kind of like what happens with him post Clone Wars before we see him around, like when he becomes like a kingpin mafia boss. Maybe he fights some ballerinas. I don't know, but it looks really good. I'm excited for it. It's like the traditional Clone Wars style, but they put a little bit of a twist on it. It almost has like an Arcane, like brushwork look to it. If anyone is a fan of Arcane, that animation style, like they dashed a little bit of that into the Clone Wars style. I'm really excited about it. So, yep, check that out too.
And of course, Toyman, you're busy as well. Last week you had Daredevil Born Again came back, and you were on top of it.
Season 2, there is a No Surrender Cinema covering the premiere. Nice little tie into Firewalker, because John Rhys-Davies made an appearance, and he was the original live-action Kingpin in the Trial of the Incredible Hulk TV movie. But yes, if you have watched the premiere of Daredevil Born Again, Season 2, please go and check out my review. There are not many spoilers in there. I try to keep those to a minimum. And then I will have another show that I have been covering over the last couple of years coming up. Not to the extent of Ryan Campbell's television viewing and reviewing, but The Boys is making its big return for the final season. So I'll be covering that. And then both you and I have spoken to our good buddy, friend of the site, former guest on the podcast, Chad Michael Collins. and I will be adding the new Sniper No Nation to my coverage of all things sniper, which I have discussed over the years. So new movie is about to drop, and I will have a new review of that new movie coming up to kick April off.
That is right. That Sniper No Nation coming out April 7th, Tuesday, April 7th. That's a week from when this drops. You can pre-order it, actually, and we can put that link in the description of this episode. And while we're on the subject of Sniper No Nation, you know what's happening this Thursday, Ryan Campbell, on our YouTube channel?
Big time Bulletproof Spotlight Brain. Are we allowed to talk about it?
We are allowed to talk about it, of course, because my guest is the one and the only Chad Michael Collins, and we will definitely be talking Sniper No Nation along with some other recent activities that Mr. Collins has been involved with, some shows, some big time network shows. I pitched some things to him, and you can check that out. The latest episode, Bulletproof Spotlight, this Thursday, April 2nd. We're talking Sniper No Nation and much more. And again, you can pre-order Sniper No Nation on digital. Check out the link in the description. And let's talk about next week. Next week, it will be Jackie Chan's birthday, and we will be celebrating.
Are we?
We are celebrating here on the podcast because we are going to cover a classic Jackie Chan movie, Wheels on Meals. Toyman, I know you've seen this one.
I have. It's been a while, so I'm looking forward to a rewatch, but this is classic Chan, so what better way to celebrate the man than go old school with one of his earlier films?
I mean, the best way would have been to, I don't know, have a whole theme week for him, but we will have.
I was going to ask you, Brain, why don't we just do a whole week? Why don't we call it, like, let's just get really wacky for Jackie Chan, Brain. Maybe we can call it Wacky for Jackie Week. Yeah. What do you think about that?
I think that's great. But, you know, if you're wondering why that's not happening, you can talk to the people at Disney. You can talk to the people at Prime Video. You can talk to the people at Apple. You can talk to the people at Sony. There will be no Wacky for Jackie Week, but we will have Wheels on Meals. And on the website, I will have a special Jackie Chan from A to Z, because by God, we're celebrating Jackie Chan's fucking birthday one way or the other. And we're
not
doing
someone that we've covered a lot on the site, Brain. Kind of a criminally underrated.
Which is why I wanted him to have his own week. But the universe said, fuck you. And I say, fine. We'll just change things up. All right, now. But yeah, anyway, I apologize. Wheels on Meals, fantastic film. I haven't seen it in a long while either, so I'm looking forward to getting back into it. And we're going to talk about it. I'm sure this is your first time watching it, Ryan Campbell. Or are you going to shock me? Be like, oh no, I've watched that one 10 times.
Nope, first time. I think I've seen some of the scenes and different kinds of clips and stuff, but yeah.
It'll be fine. Food trucks well before they were in vogue. All right.
Now I'm just thinking about that food truck. I had Al Pastor tacos at once.
Yeah.
They were like the best thing I've ever had, to the point where like I've been scouring the internet to try to find that food truck.
Just going to chase that food truck down.
I went back into the Facebook page of the event that it was and was like looking through all their photos or hoping to find a vendor list, just desperately trying to find what the name of that goddamn food truck was so I can find out where they're going to be next. And I've had no luck.
Well, welcome to the world.
That's anyway, your golden treasure. That's going to be Ryan Campbell's Firewalker,
Texas Ranger truck. So there you go. So yeah, Jackie Chan. We're gonna celebrate you next week, my friend. He's not really my friend. Toyman's. He's probably Toyman's friend, but not mine. All right. Anything else, gentlemen? I think we've covered it.
We've covered it all.
All right.
Yep. Go check out the YouTube channel. I know we talked about the Bulletproof Spotlight, but if you're going to go over there, make sure you like and subscribe as well.
That's right. And again, hopefully we did justice to the great Chuck Norris in one of his, again, more unconventional films. Glad we got to talk about it. And again, as Toyman mentioned, it's not one that gets talked about enough. So I'm glad we were the ones who did talk about it. So maybe you other people out there should watch and talk about it. All right. With that said, I want to thank you all for listening. And as always, stay tuned for more of the Bulletproof Podcast.